نستعرض اليوم الجاموس الكولومبي المشابه إلى الجاموس البلدي المصري.
This species has been domesticated for 6,000 years. However, the study of its productive potential only dates back 40 years. The buffalo is originally from Asia, and it can be found in greatest concentrations in India with 140 million animals. There, like in Colombia, they are used for three purposes, that is, for milk, meat, and as beasts of burden. In livestock ranching, there are several business lines. They will depend on your tastes, on the marketplace, and on the conditions of the farm, on the availability of forage, and on the installations available. Among those business lines, raising stocker animals has the greatest rotation of animals. On this show, we will talk about this alternative. Buffalo breeding and raising.
They are called water buffalo, and they were introduced to the American continent around 1890 in a pioneering country such as Brazil. They were the first to introduce this species. This breed was brought to Colombia in 1967 by the Incora. They imported the first buffalo, which were 30 females, 5 breeding bulls, and 5 work bulls, who were located in Guapi, in the province of Cauca.
Juan David told us about the location of the buffalo farm where he works, on breeding and raising buffaloes, and how it started. He will also tell us how, since 2013, he decided to work with this breed after seeing an opportunity to learn more about these animals.
Well, we're located in the town of Pueblo Nuevo, in the province of Córdoba. This buffalo ranch has a tradition going back 26 years, and its origins go back to the purchase of a farm in Necoclí, where its previous owner left behind 50 buffaloes, of which there were 30 females and 20 males. That's where the interest in studying and starting to work this species originated, since the animals were in a wild state and we wanted to apply human knowledge to buffalo. I started here around the year 2013, and I was given the opportunity to work with a buffalo expert who gave me the chance to learn about them, and to this date, it has been a beautiful experience. I have learned about the physiology and management of these animals. They are a very docile species, which is characterized by easy management. In the day-to-day management, we apply knowledge about the species, and we try to translate that information so that we can achieve higher goals and obtain better production.
Now let's learn about some of the characteristics and uses of buffalo.
They are the most productive domesticated animals. They are multi-purpose species. From it, we can obtain milk, meat, and beasts of burden. The traits that make them most productive are the amount of solids present in the milk, such as protein, fat, and lactose. Buffalo are characterized for being very precocious. They reach the reproductive stage much more quickly. They are more efficient. They're very hardy animals and highly productive. Hence, I would say that their performance is characterized by quantitative as well as qualitative factors in terms of milk production, meat production, and also because it is an animal that can be used for field work.
Let's look at the challenge of starting to work with this breed.
One of the difficulties we faced initially was in managing and taming. Since these buffalo were left out in the open and raised in a wild manner, with little labor, so they had never been handled, which made taming these animals very difficult at first.
Buffalo breeding and raising. Let's talk about stocker buffalo. These are males or females that have been weaned, that are in the growth period, which weigh on average 280 kilograms, and whose age ranges between 8 and 18 months old. The process consists of raising them until they weigh approximately 350 kilograms. From there, they can go on to finishing or be sold to ranchers specialized in that business line.
Of their important characteristics, we should highlight that these animals should be reaching a weight of 180 to 300 kilos when they are between 18 or 20 months of age. After this, these animals have already gone through puberty, and they go on to the reproductive stage. At this stage, we have other weight protocols, and we call them heifers or bulls during their reproductive stage.
Now let's learn about the buffalo breeds being worked on this farm. We will hear about this from two people who used to work with cattle, but who found buffalo to be a better alternative.
Cattle are different from buffalo because the buffalo is a more rustic and hardy animal. In order to tame them, you start them when they are young. You tie them and rub them. They are very easy to tame. This breed is the Murrah, which is different from the Mediterranean. Their horns are curvier and shorter than the Mediterranean. As we can see, they are not as hairy as the Mediterranean. The legs are stockier than the Mediterranean. Their eyes are bigger than the Mediterranean, and the nose is different. The Murrah breed is more skittish and temperamental, so you have to tame them more because they are more nervous than the Mediterranean. The Murrah breed is very good. It keeps improving with multiple uses of milk, meat, and they are very good for work. I have done well with buffalo. This is a stocker specimen, a Mediterranean bull. This one, he is 9 months old. He was raised on milk alone. He weighs approximately 280 kilos. His main traits are the horn is fairly straight, the hair is long, and it covers their entire body. The eyes are smaller than the Murrah. The nose orifices are narrower than the Murrah buffalo. They are very docile animals, which quickly adjust to being handled. The difference in horns between Murrah and Mediterranean are that the Murrah have curved horns, and his horns are pretty straight. There is a difference in the legs. Here, the leg is thinner than the Murrah, and the hoofs are all black. In some breeds, you may find specimens with white hoofs.
Buffalo breeding and raising. Buffalo farms have different methods of raising calves. so as to obtain good stocker animals and high production yields in the established timeframes. This farm employs 2 different raising methods. Let's see what they consist of.
On this buffalo farm, we have 2 methods for raising calves. One, where the calf is raised with its mother, and another, where they are raised artificially. The protocol for raising calves with their own mother is as follows. After birth, we must guarantee that the calf consumes colostrum for the first 6 hours, so that through this first food, it can receive immunoglobulins and it can develop its immune system. Once the calf drinks the colostrum, we proceed to close up the umbilical cord so as to prevent the entry of bacterial agents or opportunistic microorganisms that can cause disease in newborns. Once this process is done, we take these animals to the holding pens so as to guarantee an adequate place for them, one that is not too muddy, which can cause them physiological alterations. There, after 2 days, these animals will be identified with a tattoo and a tag on their left ear, with their corresponding number, be it male or female. We write their mother's number on their right ear for the purpose of genetics management and company record keeping. After this, we make sure that the calves consume their food every day. After approximately 8 days, they are taken to the milking pens, where they join the female buffalo during milking. After the buffalo calves are 8 days old, they participate in one milking shift, where the buffalo cow is milked in the morning hours and the calf is let loose with her around midday. In the afternoon hours, the calf is picked up and taken to a fresh, dry place where we can provide them with optimum conditions for their development. After around 15 or 20 days, it has fulfilled a stage where it has acquired those defenses and gained weight. They can go through 2 milking periods, where these calves can play a role between one milking and another. Milkings take place in the morning hours, and in the afternoon, the calf will suckle during the times that the mother buffalo is taken to the pens for milking. We are now in the area where calves are artificially reared. When they are 30 days old, they are completely separated from their mothers with the intent of raising them this way. The reason for this is to improve the amount of milk production in the buffalo. We have seen a notable increase in production, and at the same time, we have been reducing the intervals between births. This way, we can reduce unproductive days and have quicker pregnancies among the buffalo. For buffalo calves that are being artificially reared, we feed them with powdered milk, which we also mix a part of with buffalo milk, so as to improve the quality of the milk given to the calves. Another component of feeding buffalo calves raised under confinement is high-protein concentrate, formulated for their age and growth stage. This is rationed into 3 feedings throughout the day. They are also given water at will, mineral salts, and silage. We also supplement their feeding with palm kernel cakes. These buffalo calves remain in this stage until they are 8 months old. Through this process, we obtain an average weight gain at weaning of 180 kilograms.
hacen demostrar unos kilos más que si fuera una crianza.
Which is a few more kilos than if they were raised with their mothers until they were 9 months old.
Castration is performed by some ranchers. This method is not very common among buffalo, since this is a very precocious species, which can reach a weight of 450 kilos in a lot less time than cattle. In some buffalo ranches, castration is done at 13 months to improve certain aspects of the meat, such as texture and color. The buffalo's permanent teeth start to erupt between 24 and 25 months old, so they must be fattened until they are 25 months old to avoid the delays the fattening can cause in their stage of their development. The consumption of buffalo meat has been increasing in Latin America, but the lack of marketing and information has led to it becoming an industrial meat. Buffalo breeding and raising. Let's talk about the nutritional and environmental conditions these animals require in order to achieve high production levels. In this buffalo farm, they use the initials BFPWSG, which means bulls, forage, peace, water, salt, and grass.
The initials mean as follows. If we have bulls, then we can have a successful reproductive stage for the buffaloes. Here on the buffalo farm, I dare say that we have a fertility rate of over 90%. The forage is the food that we provide for the animals in the form of grass. If we have a good amount of forage, we can have good corporal development, we can have good production, and guarantee the animals' reproductive and physical health. Inasmuch as we can, we try to convey tranquility to the animals. We want animals to be as relaxed as possible. For that, we employ many techniques, such as using dams, like bathing them in the holding pens so that they can relax and remain calm. Water is fundamental for them to regulate their temperature during daylight hours, and it is very hot in this area. That is the peace that we can provide for them.
You must keep in mind that in addition to helping buffalo regulate their body temperature, water helps prevent the infestation of ticks, fleas, mosquitoes, and specifically gadflies. By keeping these pests at bay, we also prevent trypanosome and anaplasmosis, diseases which frequently affect the species.
Salt is a mineral that animals need for the physiological and reproductive development. Shade is important as well, and it's also part of the buffalo's thermoregulation mechanisms.
After learning about the BFPWSG system, Juan David took us to a place where he told us more about this management system.
Right now, we are in a prairie that is a bit higher up, where a herd of young females are grazing 20 days after giving birth. As we can observe, this lot is drier than the others. The idea is to bring the right amount of comfort to the calves. In this lot, we can see calves younger than 20 days old. They are still getting strong and receiving the immunity transferred by their mothers. We can also see a group of buffalo that are regulating their body temperature under the shade of a tree. We don't necessarily need a dam or a pond for them to meet their physiological needs.
To finish off, let's talk about the final stage of raising these buffalo, bulls as well as females.
Daily weight gain is approximately 700 to 800 grams during grazing.
Hablo de pastoreo en animales que están
I am talking about grazing on pastures in this zone. Grasses such as humidicola, natural grasses such as canutillo, gramalote, and some improved varieties such as brachiarias and branchipara.
el peso apropiado para los
The
machos
appropriate weight for males at slaughter should be around 450 or 470 kilos,
obteniendo alrededor de los 22, 20.
which they should reach when they are 24 months old at the latest.
Suplementos que utilizamos nosotros acá en la finca
The supplements that we use here at the farm are corn silage,
producido y cosechado en épocas de lluvia,
which we produce and harvest during rainy season, but we use the product during the dry season,
épocas donde la cantidad de forraje va a disminuir.
at times when the amount of forage decreases and we have to get used to supplement their feeding and provide them with added comfort.
En las bovillas para
Female buffalo begin their reproductive stage when they reach a weight of 350 kilos at an average age between 18 and 20 months old.
estas hembras se someten a un programa
These females initially undergo a program of artificial insemination for which we are using semen from pure Mediterranean bulls with the goal of improving the gene pool,
un mejoramiento genético, tener unas mejores producciones de leche, unas mejores ganancias de peso.
having better milk production, obtaining better weight gains, and having docile animals that are more easily handled.
So that is how the process of buffalo breeding and rearing reaches its final stage, after passing through all the growth stages. This is done in order to improve the herd genetics and the quality of the milk.
لمزيد من التفاصيل عن الجاموس الكولومبي أو الوارا بافلو يمكنكم الاتصال مباشرة بمؤسسة ديري فودز كوربوريشن DFC بالولايات المتحدة الأمريكية على البيانات التي تظهر على الشاشة. وشكرا.